arrive. You are what makes the reunion. It works better when you're all here. This is our 58th reunion. 11 years ago, in one of our local lunches, we said we might not make it for our 50th, so let's start early, and we have been meeting every year since. Some of you have been here every year and have made it part of your calendar, and we truly appreciate those of you that have 100% attendance. Each year we have some new faces, and unfortunately we lose some forever. But we want to say with all our hearts, y'all come back. We'd like to thank some people who truly make this a great event. Our local girls, KM, KV, Nell, Ann, Elaine, Francis, and Grace, who gathered to help plan and along with our other members produce that great meal that we have tonight. We have some calls and notes to encourage attendance, and we're always concerned whether we're going to have enough to eat, but it grows until the tables are groaning. We'd also like to thank the roadies who visit with Margaret Ann, Dot, Rita, and Virginia, who helped to decorate and set up. Tonight we have a new team riding on the Cars and Charlie, who've done a great job. And of course, Buddy makes our signs from Gentry Signs, and we have two new ones this year, the one we posed under over here, and then we have one that we want to make sure that everybody signs, and you need to make sure that you put the year 19 on it so we'll know when you signed it. Okay, so you need to do that either tonight or tomorrow. Special thanks for John, who takes care of the music and the picture. And of course, Albert is responsible for the Cokes and the drinks. We also want to thank Ken. We know many people rely on him with notes and calls through the year. And thanks to Donnell, who's so generous with his time. Thank you for so many who put a little extra in our donation jar. That's what's going to pay for your dinner tomorrow night. It really helps to pay for the event. You have succeeded in forming such a strong family bond for our class. It's built on trust and genuine caring for each other. I've witnessed this strong bond of caring and all kinds of generous things that you do for each other. Friends are truly one of life's great blessings, and we have to thank you for forming that bond that has created this great class. I would also like to thank you for adopting all the spouses. Many spouses don't care to go to reunions because they just have to stand around smiling at people they don't know. So while everybody else reminisces. So we want everybody to feel at home, and we want you to all come back. Check us out on Facebook or in the email, and John's going to tell you about our blog site. We also want to thank Margaret Ann and Barry, who put up with this every year, who make their home available to us, and are such great hosts and hostesses. What?
I said, you are so welcome.
Okay. Tonight we are going to have a special program. Our very talented Rita has worked real hard to make this happen. So Rita, I'm going to turn the floor over to you.
All right, you know who told me I had to do this.
Tells me what I have to do. Yeah, walk.
Yes. So tonight we're going to have some questions, and they're not embarrassing questions. It's just going to help us to remember our high school days a little bit better, and maybe to learn a little bit more about each other that we either didn't know or we forgot. Probably we forgot. So first I want to say, though, thank you for all the prayers and good things. Larry felt he was a part of our class when he was, just before he was a senior. His family moved to Hialeah, Florida, and it was a huge school, and he really didn't get to know many people well. And so when he married me, he adopted you. So he's here with us tonight in spirit. So thank you very much, and he would be very upset if we didn't laugh and have a good time, let me tell you. So the first one I have on here, Kay, you're going to have to come over here with Nell, because I'm going to make you do the walking, because y'all are on here first. Okay. All right. All right, Kay and Nell were our 2-star girl basketball players. They were all little 10. So, you know, we were proud. Everybody, us short girls that were all on the front row there, we all just envied Nell. We wanted to be tall like Nell was. And so these 2 girls played basketball, and we watched them play and enjoyed it. Now, the annual didn't list it, but do you remember how many points you scored your senior year?
0.
0. How many rebounds or, how many points did you block then, Nell? Because Nell would stand under that hook, and she would just throw her arm up and right on the ball. Y'all remember that? I remember that. How about you, Cody? Do you remember? Does a game stand out in your mind? Any one game stand out? Not.
Probably one when we all together scored 14 points.
Okay, one game everybody together scored 14 points. Yeah, that's a memorable game, isn't it? That's a dilly. So. But we did enjoy. Kay was on the team, and everybody that was on the team, raise your hands. Margaret?
Charlie?
Maybe not.
He's a wannabe.
So what fun. Okay, excuse me. All right. Ann Black, Craig, I'm going to call you by, your name that you were in high school 3/4 of the time. You know that. Let's see. Ann was on our homecoming court. You remember what you were elected in Who's Who when we were a senior? Friendliest girl. Did she hug everybody that came here tonight? If she didn't, we're taking that title away from her. That's right. And, all right. What guy did several of you girls have such a crush on that not only did you know what he was wearing, but you knew what color socks he had on every day? It wasn't me. You weren't one of those girls. Those other girls. Who was it that the other girls had crush on? Down Clark. So you can believe she didn't have a crush on him if you want to. If you really want to. Okay, where's Buddy?
Buddy's not here.
Buddy's not
He'll come
here.
tomorrow.
All right. Mackie, where's Malcolm? All right. Hey, Mackie. It looks like I'm going to get my exercise today. All right, Mac. What part did you play in the senior play if Mother only knew? Do you remember?
The husband.
All right. Husband was Dr. Jeffrey Gooch. Can we see Mackie as a doctor here? All right. What trick did you play on Joe Williams at play practice one night?
He lost part of his shape to a pin.
That's right. Us girls dressed Joe up with balloon bosoms. And one night, unbeknownst to Joe, Mac had a pin. And so right in the middle of play practice, he snuck up and put his arm around him and stuck that pin in one of those balloons. And I tell you, Joe was some kind of surprise. He couldn't remember his next line after that.
Who remembers what happened to Rita during the play practice?
You don't tell that now.
She came out on the stage with boxing gloves on and was hopping around and swinging her arms and everything. And all of a sudden, she just hit the floor. And everybody just stopped and looked. What's wrong with Rita? Rita, what's wrong? Not a word. She had popped every button off the front of her blouse, and she was the only one that recognized it.
And they wouldn't leave for me to get up. I had to slither along the floor, I think, till I got, in the wings so that I could get up. They weren't very nice to me either. Joe got his due. All right. Are you following me, John? All right, let's see Barry here. You and Nell were voted most athletic in Who's Who. So, Nell and Barry here, you were all conference in on our champion football team, all Little Can All-State, State All-Stars on our basketball team, and you participated in field events and track. And you were the high scorer on our basketball team. Do you remember how many points you scored our senior year, Barry?
607, I think.
No, more than that.
617.
More than that. Keep the 7.
Jackie may tell you, I don't know.
677.
677.
677. But Jackie was a close second. So was basketball the highlight of your senior year, Barry?
No.
What was?
My wife.
You're too close.
Margaret Ann is the highlight of his senior year. He can sleep in his own bed tonight.
Hey, Charlie, I got to sleep on your great bed.
Okay. All right, where's Grace? I see Grace over here. If I'd known where y'all were going to sit, I'd have put you all together. Didn't know. Grace, tell us about you and Richard dating and getting married. How long out of high school and all was it when y'all got married?
Oh, it was a while after we got out of high school, but I met him on December the 13th or 14th when he got out of the Army, and in February the 1st of the next year we were married. 6 weeks later, and now it's 55 years later.
Wow, that's enough to give him a hand. And that's great. When you met him, you knew, didn't you? Did you know what, Richard?
It wasn't long till it did.
I think Grace let him know real quick. All right. Is Gaddis here tonight?
Oh, yes.
Oh, there's Gaddis. I don't think I had a chance to give Gaddis a hug tonight, so come on.
There you go.
All right, let's see, Gaddis. All right.
This could be scary.
No, I said these were nice. All these are nice.
She asked me if I was going to leave.
All right, you were in Who's Who when you were a junior, and you were elected to 2 positions when you were a senior in the Who's Who. Do you remember what they were? Do you remember when you were a junior?
Outstanding musician was one of them.
That's right. Best musician when he was a junior. So how about that? How about senior? 2 positions.
Most likely to succeed.
All right. He was most likely to succeed. Who else was most likely to succeed? You have no idea, do you? He has no idea that I had my picture. I had my picture made with him. I knew he wouldn't remember. I absolutely knew he would not remember that. But I forgive you guys. You know, I looked it up in the annual, so I have an advantage over you. But he was also best musician again his senior year, so we was proud of Gary. Okay, Margaret Ann. Okay, Margaret Ann, you gonna be as nice to Barry as he was to you?
I'm gonna try.
Okay. Who were the co-captains the night you were crowned homecoming queen our senior year?
Vicki Edwards and Carol Lott.
Vicki Edwards and Carol Lott. So you want to tell us a little bit more?
Well, I think Barry had told each of them not to plant a kiss on me. And so Carol just lightly brushed my cheek. And Mickey grabbed me around the waist and threw me back. And I mean, he planted one right on my lips. It scared me to death. I had never kissed another boy. So God bless Mickey. We miss him tonight.
That's right. So I understand Barry wasn't too happy about that, were you, Barry?
When I was focused on football, not my love was my life.
Yeah. You believe that, I guess, don't you? All right. All right, Kate.
Johnny can't get in the gate. He's down at the gate. Johnny can't get in the gate. Thank you.
Hi, Kate, our Miss Starkville High School here. All right, you're a cheerleader, you played basketball, you're in a homecoming court, junior, senior play, a host of other activities. But you lived a long way from Starkville, didn't you, Kate?
I did, a long way.
A long ride on the bus.
I didn't have a telephone.
You didn't have a telephone either.
Not even a landline. Most of it was a cell phone.
So sometimes, did folks on the bus get a little upset that they had to go all the way nearly to West Point to get to carry you home or pick you up?
It's true. I was the first one on at 7 in the morning and the last one off at 4 in the afternoon. And I guess some of them rode that way and then they came back, and here I am moving the mic, and then they came back to their house. So it was a long trip. We spent a lot of time on the bus. So.
A lot of time on the bus. Well, Margaret Ann says sometimes you stop by here and waited on your daddy to come and get you.
True. If we had a basketball game or play practice or anything, I had to just find a place to stay. But the night, I couldn't go home and then get back to school the next morning. So this was a second home a lot of nights. So and I'm eternally grateful. Okay,
We
Shirley.
couldn't put that bed together now, though, could we?
Probably not. He's snoring.
Shirley, we were trying to figure out when were you here and part of our class?
First, second, third grade, and it was either 6th or 7th grade that I was back, just for 1 year.
So you were here and then you came back.
Mm-hmm.
So that's great. I just wish you had stayed the whole time.
Well, I moved over to Columbus and graduated from S.D. Lee High School.
How about that?
Yeah.
It's
good to see y'all.
Kay and Shirley were roommates at the W, and Bess at the W. So it's like old home week when y'all get together, isn't it? It really is. It's great.
Tell everybody that Johnny has made his appearance now.
All right. Okay, where did Judy go?
I don't know where you
As she is over there. All right. I did. I'm nice. I'm nice on every one of these. Okay, Judy, when did you decide that you were destined to be a teacher, and who was your favorite teacher at Starkville High School?
Probably Miss Hodges. She was, and Mr. Foster. Both of them were very impressive to me.
Do you think they influenced you in that field?
Well, Mr. Foster was a chemistry teacher, and I ended up being a chemistry teacher, so I guess that would be true.
Well, I'll tell you, Mrs. Hodges managed
to teach me algebra, she had to be the best teacher that there has ever been in the world. Because I'm not turned in math, but I made an A in algebra. She was a wonderful, wonderful teacher. Okay, Carol's not here? He had to go home. All right, Dot. Oh, Dot.
Ask her about her shoes.
Oh, Beth said, ask you where you got those shoes, those polka dot shoes you got on.
She knows already.
Yeah. All right, Dot, what category did you win in our senior Who's Who?
Best dressed.
Best dressed. Best dressed. Look, if you hadn't seen these shoes, you take a gander at them before you leave here today.
Dottie, could you lift up your foot so I can get a picture of the shoes? Wait a minute. Thank you very much.
I think Dot's the only one that still can lift her leg that high. I didn't have that on there, but I'm impressed. All right, what guy was best dressed? Do you remember?
Louis Mallory.
Mallory. Oh, I bet you didn't remember.
Look at those shoes.
Put your foot up, Louis. Well,
Yeah, he's getting all the credit for shiny shoes. Look at my shoes. Thank you very much.
Dot, who nurtured your love of pretty clothes and looking good?
Was it your mama?
My mother, yes. Yeah, she made sure I had everything I needed or wanted. Well, not wanted, but needed. Yeah, she
Made sure all your buttons were buttoned.
So Dot never came to school without her buttons, man. Okay, where's Charles? Charles Newell. He over here? Charles. All right. Charles was known as the king of the broken bones. Charles broke more bones than anybody in the whole senior class put together. And so I understand that you broke a bone in the 2nd grade. Can you tell us how you broke that bone?
I think that's the one when Bill Palmer and I were chasing Dot Hayes. And we thought we had her caught, and we went around this piece of concrete there they had piled up in the playground. And Bill and I ran together. And I didn't get up, so I broke my hip. And the sad thing I found out 50 years later, Dot didn't even remember that. But I remembered it well, and poor old Bill had to have psychiatric treatment for a long time because he thought he had been cursed by the devil or something because he had broken my leg, you know.
Really, Dot?
It was Dot.
It's our best dress. You didn't want to get your dress messed up, did you, Dot?
So don't chase redheads. Don't chase redheads, Joe.
All right. Let's see, Louis, I think next. Our best dressed guy with the white socks on. I know, nobody wore anything but white socks, did they? All right. You know, you were all conference and you're in position on our champion football team. And your 3rd highest score on our basketball team, but your forte seemed to be as a pitcher on our championship baseball team. So, you not only had the most hits that year, but you had the highest batting average. Do you remember what it was?
I've got no idea. I don't think we played more than 7 or 8 games. So you had 1 or 2 good ones in there, you were going to be in good shape.
You were a good one. His batting average was .424.
Wow.
424. So was baseball your favorite sport then, you think?
No, I liked every sport I played in. I really did. Baseball was probably the first one that I had much experience in, but I enjoyed all 3 of them.
That's great. You know, we had the best athletic team
in the world, our class did. I don't think there's been another class that even came close, even close. All right. I think it's Cornelia's time this time. You know, Cornelia was on the homecoming court before she captured William's heart. So, William, what attracted you to Cornelia? Tell us about your first day.
Well, I was on a hayride with Mary Frances.
Mary Frances Road, right?
Yeah, and it was cold. Oh, Lord, it was cold. And she was there with Timmy Timms. And she didn't have a jacket, so I gave her my jacket. And then I hitchhiked back to town, got my car, and came out and picked her and Timmy and Mary Frances up. And that wasn't our first date, but our first date was interesting. I was always real proper. Everything was proper. So I drove up to the house, and got out, went to the door, knocked on the door, went in. She said she'd be out in a minute. So I sat down, talked to the parents. Going out, I opened the door, I held her arm, going down the steps, took her out to the car, opened the car door, helped her in, went around the car, and got in the back seat.
That is rich. That is rich. You were real impressed, weren't you? Really impressed. That's neat. Got in the back seat. All right.
Me and William went on mine and Joe's honeymoon.
Oh, you need to tell about that.
They got married in 61, in the summer of 61, and we married in 62, and so we went up to where everybody went, to the Smoky Mountains, and we were in Rock City, Rock City, so we did. And we were walking along, and all of a sudden I look over there and I said, Cornelia? And she's looking all around, and she said, Bess? And so we visited, and so we said, well, why don't y'all just come on, leave your car here, and come on and go with us. So they went with us for the rest of our honeymoon. Can you imagine such a thing? And we went back to Rock City and let them out, and they got in their car, and we all came back to Starkville.
One interesting point. We went to Cherokee, North Carolina. It was late in the afternoon. We couldn't find a place to stay. So you remember that? So we pulled into this motel and told the lady we needed a place to stay. We needed two. And she says, well, I don't have but one. It's got two beds, but we'll hang a sheet between them.
Oh, mercy.
That we took them back to Rock City.
You didn't let them go any further.
No, that was hard.
No, we having some good memories going on here. That's great. And while I'm here with Beth, you're in the Journalism Club, the FHA, the Latin Club, the Pep Squad, the Community Youth Council. You were president of the Y Teens, and we were talking. We couldn't remember what we did as Y Teens. We were all Y Teens, but you were president, so you ought to remember what Y Teens was all about.
We had regular meetings.
What did we meet about?
I think we did some kind of service projects. I don't remember what they were, but I think we did.
You think we did good things?
Oh, our class, I'm sure we did good things. Yeah.
What does the Y stand for?
Youth, I think.
Youth teens?
That doesn't make very good
Young teens, what does Y? It's part of the YWCA or the YMCA.
Can you sing that song?
No, but they sang it at the ball game last night with all these old people with all those things,
Okay, well, Bess was president, but she's not sure of what.
I'm sure we did well.
Yes, that's right. Let's see, where's Kenneth? Which one? Oh, Kenneth, are you hiding, Kenneth? Usually you're in the spotlight, but you couldn't read my hand scratch tonight, so.
I'm good.
All right, Kenneth, Mr. Starkville High School. But he left Starkville in Mississippi, and he went to Baylor. And I understand that there was a lady that was a big influence in your life, Miss Applegate. Can you tell us how?
Well, actually, I mowed grass. My family was not a church family, but I mowed grass, and I mowed her yard. And she took me and talked me into going to youth camp. And I went to youth camp and became a Christian and surrendered to the ministry at Kittiwake Baptist Assembly because of Miss Applegate. And she kind of adopted me from that point on. And when I went to Baylor, I think when I get so broke, she would take up money to WMU and send me money for textbooks and all that kind of stuff. Special lady in my life.
Special. We remember the Applegate fondly, but Kenneth really remembers Miss Applegate. Okay, Jackie. We got Jackie over here. All right. Yeah, Jackie. You were like Mary, all Little 10, all state all-stars on our championship basketball team. Now, I understand every once in a while you call Coach Muse. Who do you tell the secretaries call?
Number 25.
Number 25, and Coach Muse answers, doesn't he?
I speak to Coach Muse, not Dr. Muse,
Coach Muse. Well, when I say Coach Craig, I can't say anything but Coach Craig. You know, it's just the way it goes. So you still feel a special bond with Coach Muse.
Even this week, and making sure at the time that Coach Muse was coming up here, Thomas Watson, some of y'all may remember that name. I would sign my email to him, number 25.
All right.
Is he coming tomorrow night? He is.
He'll be here tomorrow night.
Rita,
Yeah.
I have a story about Jackie.
All right, Bessie's got a story. I don't know if I need to open up after what Mac told on me, I don't know whether I should do this, but I will.
Jackie Van Chancellor came to Baton Rouge and coached the women's basketball team for a few years. And we went one night, he had a radio show, so we went one night to listen to him. And after it was over, he came over and we were talking about him being from, where's he from?
Louisville's what they said.
Louisville, but he's not, he's from that other
He's
little
from Nana Warrior.
Yeah, Nana Warrior. So we said, well, we're from Starkville. And he said, did you ever know Jackie Walford? And I said, sure, I graduated from high school with Jackie Walford. He said, that is the best guard I ever saw play basketball, bar none.
That's great.
He remembered the name. Just when I said Starkville, he said Jackie Walford, just like that.
Just like that. Mac, you heard that was a good story. That was a real good story. Okay, Preston. Okay, Preston. Tell us what you did after you got out of high school and went to college.
Well, that's a long, long story. You got time? Well, I got the story. Well, I went to college, started out in mechanical engineering. I'll just say about a semester and a half, I thought I'm in the wrong field. And Mr. Earl Terrell, whose daughter I think was a year or two younger than us in high school, influenced me about considering to be a teacher and an industrial education teacher. And that turned out to be my calling in life. I was a work-study student. It took me, I'm going to say 5.5 years to graduate, but I had a lot of experience and a lot of stories. And in a year and a half before I graduated, I met this beautiful thing on a blind date over to W, and I guess I want to say a year and a half later we married in December the 19th, 1965, and then in heaven ever since. I put in 32 and a half years in education, went to Tuscaloosa and worked 2 years with the teacher union. And a hard-headed fellow from Octalk, the teacher union, and I didn't have a real good experience. And after 2 years and about 5 or 6 teachers losing their comfortable position, I decided I need to come back to Octalk because they said, you know, I don't know what you're doing, but you keep doing it. I said, no, I'm not keeping doing it because nobody appreciates what I'm trying to clean up education over here. But there's some real interesting stories there, but that's not the question. But anyway, love you all. It was a pleasure to be in school with you. In high school, I was more of an observer than a participant. And I really value the things that I've observed from each of you. She looked me up in the annual and I just had a picture.
We're glad you came home, Preston. We're glad you came home. Virginia thought I'd forgotten about her, but I hadn't, so. All right, Virginia, Neal, Boyd.
Did she make up the question?
No, I made up the question, but I ran some of them by Margaret Ann and Virginia because it was tough. Margaret Ann can get some of the toughest jobs you've ever seen in your life, but you don't know how to say no. So I guess you just do it, don't you?
You have to do it.
Yeah.
Margaret didn't ask you.
You're gonna have to talk loud.
You're too close to the
Too close to the
speakers there.
Nah. Okay, not only were you on the homecoming court, but you were a majorette for our award-winning band for 3 years. When you were a majorette our senior year, what made you unique? I have down here, what made you unique besides your incredibly long eyelashes? All us girls envied Virginia her eyelashes, and we would have all taken them if she had just shaved them off and given them to us, but she wouldn't.
What happened to them? You got older.
She got bald eyed.
It was wonderful being a majorette, a lot of fun, and I sure do wish that I knew how to play that bassoon I held for 5 years. That was pathetic.
Well, I'm going to tell you, Virginia was the only senior majorette in the group. Everybody else was younger, and I'm sure that they looked up to her and.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, she was the shining example majorette. I am positive. Okay, did I miss anybody?
Judy, did you get Judy?
I got Judy, didn't I? Yeah. Who? John.
Oh no.
Well, John. All right, John. All right, John, I got
Cars?
Cars. Okay, good. Let me get Cars and then. All right. Cars, you were a member of our state championship basketball team also, and you know, we went to the games and loved every minute of it, and we just thought you guys were something. Maybe not after basketball season, but during basketball season, we thought y'all was something. And so is there a game really that stands out in your mind, or a memorable game?
No, just ask me how many points I scored.
All right, Cars, how many points did you score?
Something under 1,000.
Something under 1,000.
I passed off to Jackie, so he got to shoot all.
Jackie got to shoot all yours, right?
Well, I reckon the game that stood out is when we won the state championship down in Jackson. The AAA state championship, and then went back the next weekend and got beat by a little small school in North Mississippi, Potts County. And that did not stand out, but anyway.
do I remember they just had, they didn't have anything but the 6 players or whatever, did
All they did, they did not have a football team or baseball. It was basketball 12 months out of the year.
That's what they played and practiced all the time.
First thing here, Hey, Rita.
All right, Barry's got something else he needs to say. Are you close to the speaker too, Barry?
It's not they can hear me.
Barry, stand up and come out this way.
I have said this in the past years, but you're talking about our high school team. We won the state championship and we were very successful. But you know, and again I repeat, I have said this before, but if you look at the 1961 annual yearbook, we got all our pictures. Myself, Jackie, Horace, Larry, Nick, Larry, Bob, everybody else. And in that book, we got the point scored. I want you to know, tonight, we have with us a person who went the entire year, and in the yearbook, it says his score, he scored 1 point. Kenneth Smith.
But when I made that point, we won the state championship.
Kenneth, you proud of that point, aren't you, son?
And there's a more shameful moment than that Barry does not remember, that I'm so glad he doesn't know this, but I'm going to reveal it publicly. Our football team had 10 guys make all conference off our offensive team, and only 1 guy didn't make all conference. That was me.
Have I not done, I got you down here, Virginia. All right, you're right here. I told you it was hand scratched because All right, Virginia, you are an officer and a member of the Glee Club. And I looked the Glee Club picture up in the annual, and I want you to know who was standing right in the middle were me and Trudy. And I want you to know me and Trudy couldn't sing. I don't know what we were doing there. I guess we wanted to get our picture made. But I know some of the Glee Club could really sing. And what special group did you sing in the Glee Club? I don't know what it was called. All right, it was the six-step quartet. Yeah. And Miss, what was her name, Butler? Yeah. Was the leader. Yeah.
Age doesn't gotta remember.
Can you remember who else singers were in that six-step quartet? What's that name?
I don't know.
I sure don't know. I just had my pictures.
I don't remember.
All right, Paula Hebner. Gaddis Hutt. John Capey.
Really?
Do you remember how about
And what was I in?
you were in the Glee Club at the Sextet Quartet.
I can't sing. I have a beautiful voice, but it's only a third of an octave, so.
I don't know, but your name, evidently you must have gone in the annual and snuck your name in.
Wow.
All right, John.
Uh-oh.
John used to be my go-to guy. I don't know if any of you remember, but I'm the one that decorated everything, it seemed like. And I was always coming up with some crazy stuff. Do you remember what you guys built for the junior, senior banquet when we were juniors? Our theme was Raintree County.
Yes.
What did you build?
What did I build?
You built it.
Oh dear. I drew something. I drew a little leaflet.
You did? And for one of the plays, I think, too.
Yes. But I built something?
He built something, and I was so impressed. First, we made them all go out into the woods and cut us down a big tree. And then we spray painted it gold. And then...
It's coming back.
Do you remember? Tell us what y'all built.
Go on, give me a few more hints.
It's something that the tree sat on, John.
Oh, dear. I don't remember.
All right, John and some other guys built.
Gaddis knows.
All right, tell us, Gaddis.
It was in the cafeteria at Mississippi State, right?
Yeah.
It was on a
Gaddis is right. They built us a wooden stand, round wooden stand with a motor on the bottom.
Oh, yeah.
And the tree slowly turned around. And we had lights on it, and it was all gold and shiny. And that's what everybody danced to and around was our golden rain
I do
tree.
remember. I do remember.
You do remember now
Yeah.
that I told you.
It was Rita.
It was undoubtedly the most golden moment of my life.
And John, you came from Ithaca, New York, down to Starkville?
I came from a little speck of a village, Newfane, New York,
New Pain, okay.
because everybody thought I came from someplace big since it was New York. And this village had maybe 10 or 15 stores, no movie theater, basically nothing. And we moved down to Starkville when I was 12 years old, going into 7th grade. And it was unbelievable. 2 movie theaters, a youth center, the big city.
You moved uptown.
I moved uptown.
You moved uptown, so you didn't have much of adjustment at all, did you?
It was a wonderful adjustment.
That's great. Okay, I think Mac told on me, but I'll put down what question I had. Does anybody remember the joke that I pulled on Mr. Hartman when he went to National Guard camp? I'm a real memorable person. You know, I gave Mr. Hartman a real hard time. And, but anyway, he went off to camp, and while he was there, I wrote him an anonymous love letter. I told him that I had been in love with him. I just didn't know how I could live without him, but I was afraid to tell him. I went on and on and on. Of course, I didn't sign it and send it to him. And until some idiot told him, eventually it was me, he went round and round and round with it. But I enjoyed it. I got back at him for some of the things that he punished me for, which I deserved, but you know, I didn't think I deserved at the time, but now I tell you, I did deserve it. All right, Coach Craig. All right, Coach.
Here she comes.
I know. Hi, Coach. It was your first year at SHS, wasn't it, as well as your first year to coach?
That's correct.
And so, how did it feel to coach the Little 10 District 1 co-champs that year?
Well, as usual, Starkville has always been great in whatever sport they play in, but we had an exceptional group of men out there on that football field that year, and they were willing and ready to pay the price. And to add a little bit to some of the others, George Allen Chester, I'm just going to tell this, George Allen Chester threw the shot put his senior year, and he qualified for the state, so he had to go to Clinton for the competition. So Coach Muse asked me if I'd carry him down there. And I said, yes, I'll be happy to take him. And so I got in my car, and before I left, Coach Muse gave me a check for $2.50 so he and I to eat on. So we got fat off of that $2.50 he gave me to feed him with. But anyway, this group of men, they were an exceptional group. They had a real good year before I got here, but they let, I think, Pontotoc beat them, and somebody else beat them that year, but they got ready for it. Coach Butler came down here that night they played us at J.C. Field, and of course they were cocky. He wouldn't stood over there by the fence, didn't come on the field with the boys and all. But our men got ready, and I don't forget what it was, 27-0, something like that, but they were a good group of athletes. But Starkville has always had it and always willing to pay the price. Not only good football players, but they had a bunch of young ladies, cheerleaders, whatever, band, Dot and all that group over there. We had, and I don't know to tell you how fortunate you were. The faculty at Starkville High School was about as good as it could get. I guarantee you, take Ms. Hodges and all the rest of them, and you couldn't find any better. It's just been a good Lord bless me when he sent me here, brought me here. Two of us come over here and applied for this job. A boy from New Albany, Mississippi. We were over here together, and we interviewed, and Mr. Johnson called me about middle of next week, told me I had a job. So I've been here ever since. Thank God.
All right. That's great. Did Mr. Johnson say, am I talking to the redhead?
Rita, that's something else we was blessed with. You don't find Mr. C.A. Johnson anymore. He gets an old 55 Chevrolet and followed the basketball team, football team, whatever it was. He was there. Track.
Yeah, I had a few experiences with Mr. Johnson, too. I didn't deserve that punishment either. At the time, anyway. Did I get everybody? Please tell me if I didn't. All right. There's a couple of people that I want to mention. I never saw Mickey anywhere in town or anything without him saying to me, well, you and me was wittiest boy and girl, wasn't we? And you know something? You might not think that Mickey was proud of that, but he was really proud of y'all electing him wittiest boy. And, you know, I know you know Mickey. Everybody knows Mickey. But he loved practical jokes and I think he liked staying in trouble. You know? But I was in study hall with Mickey, and we sat at the same table. Now, I don't know how that happened, but it was me and Mickey and one other person in Billy Roy McCollum. And one day, Billy Roy was coming in at the last minute, and he was hurrying to get in his chair, and somehow that chair got kicked out from under him, and Billy Roy hit the floor in that library, and all the books shook on all the shelves. And so Miss Lutzinger, you know, who did that? Well, Mickey's sitting there like a little angel. I know it wasn't me, and the other person was sitting on the end of the tape. So I can't say it was Mickey, but he was a little angel at that experience, let me tell you. And Shump, can anybody tell me who Shump pantomimed in one of our talent shows? I think we might have been in the 8th grade or the 9th grade. And Shump did a pantomime, and I think he won the talent show.
Was it Fats Domino? Who won Fats Domino?
Fats Domino.
He pantomimed, can I say it? He blacked his face. And he sat at the piano, and he pantomimed Blueberry Hill with Fats Domino, and he was fantastic. Let me tell you, he brought the house down, and that was Shump. Thank you. Oh, Margaret Ann said make sure you sign the sign.
The other one we filled up, so be sure you sign it. Put your name.
Okay. There you go.
Rita, thanks for all the wonderful memories.